Welcome, Stitchy friends. This is Heather, the 20-minute stitcher. My pronouns are she, her. You have found my channel all about cross stitch. This is episode 52. So welcome. If you are new here, so happy you chose to click play. I hope you'll like what you see and that you will choose to come back and hang around for a little bit. So let's get right into things. As I mentioned, this is episode 52. Today is Sunday, November 5th, 2023, and I have actually quite a bit to share today. So I usually give a little bit of a life update. There isn't really much to... Actually, that's not true. My daughter got her driver's license. She got her driver's license. She got a car. She's spoiled beyond belief, but her having her own car will spoil me beyond belief because she's a busy girl and I will now not have to drive her everywhere for everything that she does. So that's exciting. That's probably my biggest life update. So yeah, otherwise just trying to get ready for the holidays. My daughter's birthday was in October. My son's is this month. And then of course we do celebrate Christmas. So we've got Thanksgiving and Christmas and everything coming up. It's the end of the year is always busy. So, but that's my daughter getting her driver's license. That's my big news. That's my big life update. All right. So my other life update is in the month of October. I started to use the Stitchery Notion stitching template created by Stitchy Nati. I mentioned it in my last video. If you enjoy tracking your stitches, or in all honesty, even if you don't, because I never tracked my stitching before, other than like what project I stitched on, right? Mostly so I could keep track from my floss tube. I never counted my stitches before, but this template makes it so easy that I have been, and it's really cool. And now I'm able to share like monthly statistics with all of you if you're interested. So, if you're not, just tune me out for about 20 seconds. But so I started using the template on October 9th. So my October statistics are not fully complete. So, but between that and my bullet journal, where I was tracking my stitching before I started using Notion, I know that I stitched 27 days in October. I'm sorry, not 27, I'm reading the wrong thing. I stitched 23 days in October. And once I started tracking my stitching in Notion, I stitched approximately, I say approximately because a lot of my charts are paper, and some of them, a couple of them, I literally was like highlighting my working copy of the chart and counting the stitches. Others of them, I just kind of guesstimated based on like the number of kind of 10 by 10 grids that I had completed. So I stitched approximately 3,152 stitches from October 9th to the end of the month. I had one new start and two finishes in October, and I stitched on let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 different projects in the month. So not bad. If you were following along with my floss tube extras, you know one of the reasons I only stitched on 4 projects is I was really focusing on the Forbidden Fiber Company Clue Mystery Sal for most of the month. But so that is my October update, and I continue to use Notion, and so now obviously moving forward I'll have full months to be able to share. Though again, I'm not necessarily counting my individual stitches on my paper charts. So they're getting logged as days that I stitched, but not necessarily a stitch count. All right, so let's get into the stitching. So like many of you, I guess I should say new start. I have one new start to share today. And like many of you, I was eagerly awaiting Lola Crow Cross Stitch's new stitch along. Though seriously, this designer, she's crazy. I mean, she's just pumping out amazing thing after amazing thing. I still haven't finished the Haunted Library from last year. I didn't stitch the Greenhouse of Oddities. Wasn't something that I knew I would enjoy stitching. I love the finished design, but it's not really I'm not into plants. So mostly because I have cats that eat them. But this ornament Sal, which is what is the Creepy Christmas Village Sal. I absolutely love. The very first ornament dropped on Friday, November 4th, and I will put a picture up on the screen of what it looks like because I did not print it. And I had absolutely no chill. I spent about 4.5 hours on this Friday night because it was just too cool and I love it. And I really want to just like go stitch on it right now too. And so the first ornament was called the Creepy Carolers, I believe. You can see it on the screen. And I did purchase the called for fabric from Fox and Rabbit. It's called Elephant Run. Yeah, pretty sure it's called Elephant Run. And I have never stitched on Fox and Rabbit before, so I was doubly excited for this project because I've heard such amazing things about their fabric. And it does not disappoint. I purchased the 36 count linen, and here is where I am so far. So you can see I have zero chill. I almost color completed the black. So there's a little bit more black at the very top of the lantern. I didn't feel like counting, so I'm just going to go back and do that once I stitch the rest of the lantern. But yeah, aren't they so cool? I love them. Yep. So that's my new start. And I doubt that I will be able to keep up with this Sal. They are releasing every week with a couple of off weeks in the middle, but we'll see. I'm going to try. They're not very large. They'll stitch pretty quickly, but love it. So that's my new start for this episode. Let's go into whips. So as I mentioned, the clue for the Forbidden Fiber Company Clue Mystery Sal was really my focal piece in October. I have stitched on it a little bit more from my last Floss Tube Extra where I showed my progress. So if you were not watching my Floss Tube Extras series where I was opening the mystery flosses each few days, in my last one, in like my 11 or 12 day envelope, I commented on how like, oh my gosh, Leanne left us so little margin on this fabric. That's so weird. Like, why is there so little margin? And then I was scrolling Instagram and saw someone had posted their finish of it and went, oh, wait, why did they stitch it the other way on the fabric? Because they can follow directions or not follow directions, but they can read a chart. And I apparently was so excited to get started. I was not paying attention. I saw 143 by 150 and anyway, that's why mine has no margin because it's supposed to be stitched portrait, right? And I'm stitching it landscape. So I'm lucky that I have any margin at all, apparently. Anyway, here's where I am with this project for now. My other challenge that I'm running into, and I'm going to have to like go into the Postal Service's tracking software and like ping them or something, is I stitched the house with 3 strands of floss because I purchased the 25 count Lugana and there are fractional stitches in this chart. And I did not, I bought the 25 count planning to stitch it 1/1 so that it would be kind of this small dainty little chart. But then I saw there were fractional stitches and had zero interest in trying to pierce the fabric of 25 count and wasn't even sure it would work anyway. So I decided to stitch over 2 with 2 strands, but the house is such a dark color and the fabric is so light that I didn't like the coverage of 2 strands. And I'm sorry, those of you who watch my Floss Tube Extra, you've heard this before, but I'm assuming a lot of people didn't. So I'm just kind of recapping. I did not at all like the coverage of the house and the roof with 2 strands of floss. I felt like too much of the fabric was showing through. So I stitched the house with 3 strands and I just hoped and prayed that I would have enough floss. As you can tell, that is not how the house is designed. I did not have enough floss. And I guess there were a few of us that were doing the same thing. And so Leanne actually made a floss pack available of the 3 colors that if we did the whole project in 3 strands that we would need. So I ordered that and it has been sitting in the post office in Tennessee for 3 weeks. So I think it got lost somewhere and I need to ping them and have them go look for my package. But anyway, here is where I am right now. I'm continuing to stitch as much as I can otherwise. And that's where I got to by the end of the month. So I'll continue to work on this. I would like to have it, I'm more than 50% done. So I would like to have it done by the end of the year and I'll count it for my whip down Sal, even though it wasn't a whip at the start of the year. It became a whip as soon as I started it. So it counts for my whip down Sal, right? So that is Clue by Forbidden Fiber Company. In October, so I am participating in WhipGo this year, which is the brainchild of Jessie Marie Does Stuff. If you're not familiar with WhipGo, it's your board, your rules, but the original sort of concept of WhipGo is that, and WIP, I should say, stands for Works in Progress. I know many of you who watch my channel are experienced stitchers and know that, but I know there are always more and more people coming to cross stitch. So if you are new and are still learning the lingo, WIP stands for Work in Progress. So it's a project that you started but not finished. And WIP Go is a take on bingo. And if you're playing along, you sort of take a bingo board at the beginning of the year, or really a lot of us who are participating in 2024 are doing it now, planning our year. And you just assign a project, a work in progress, to each block on the grid. Or some people will do, they don't want to be tied to a specific project, so they'll do like a theme, like a seasonal stitch, or something with words, or something with animals. And then when that number gets called, right, so Jessie draws 2 numbers each month. And those are the 2 projects that you work on, and you set whatever goal you want for yourself, right? For some people, it's to finish it. For some people, it's a number of stitches or a number of days. So in October, one of the projects that was called was one I had finished earlier in the year, just because I felt like stitching on it. And the other one was When Witches Go Riding by Tiny Modernist. So here's what, this was a mystery stitch along in 2020 or 2021. And this is what the finished project will look like. And here, my floss ring is stuck to my needle minder. And my needle minder is sitting right on top of my stitching. What, Heather? There we go. And here is where I am now. So my WIP Go goal was to add 1,000 stitches to this project. Okay, so here's a photo of where it was the last time I showed it to you. I'm pretty sure I have one. And here is where I ended the month. So my goal was to add 1,000 stitches to this. I added like 1,033, not counting the back stitch. So it actually was a lot more than that, because I back stitched the H and the W on the when here. It's a cool project. It goes pretty quickly. I mean, there are only 4 or 5 colors. There's certain areas like the angel up here. So this is the page break. I'm sure you could guess that. Even though I'm using the digital chart, I still have it displayed kind of just one page at a time. So like the angel, once I got the gray outline done, other than paying attention to where there was no stitching here and here, the rest of it, I just filled it in. I didn't even have the pattern in front of me. I just was filling it in, which is nice. And then there are lots of other parts of that chart where it's a lot of fill in. So that is my progress on When Witches Go Riding. So I was happy that got called in October. It was fun to have a Halloween-y stitch in the month of Halloween. I will say, so 2023, this is my first year participating in WIP Go, and I do plan to film a video probably before the end of November, the very beginning of December, where I'll kind of go through my plans for 2024. And one of the things I learned about WIP Go this year is I set really ambitious goals because I wanted to make a lot of progress on the projects that I put on my WIP Go board. But my life is so busy and my stitching time is somewhat limited that those goals meant I made a lot of progress on those 24 projects or 20 that have been called so far, or completed so far. But it also meant that focusing on meeting those goals meant that I didn't necessarily have a lot of time to stitch many other things, right? I have had finishes, I have had time for other stitching, but it's mostly been at retreats or like weekends where I just decided I'm stitching this weekend and I'm not cleaning my house or paying my bills or, doing responsible adult things. So I'm still going to do WIP Go next year, but I've really adjusted my goals so that I have a lot of, maybe not a lot, but I have many projects that I haven't touched at all this year that I want to work on. And I just don't have the time because I really want to reach my WIP Go goals, if that makes sense. So anyway, that was When Witches Go Riding. I met my goal on that for October. November, my WIP Go calls are 2 projects that are definitely still WIPs. So we'll roll through those really quickly. So the first one was, that was called, I don't remember which number each was, but was Modern Folk Embroidery's Move Forward in Love, which was their 2022. Oh yeah, it even says there, Pride Sal 2022. There you go. Read, Heather. And this was released in 2 different versions. There was this version that was the full color, and then there was a monochrome as well. I chose to stitch the full color. And this was one that I have not touched since like last summer. And I honestly have not touched it much this go around either. Oh, I have a threaded needle that I have a threaded needle. I don't know why. But anyway, I don't believe I have a photo of where this was before, but if I do, I will put it here. And here is where it is now. Now I have literally added about 37 stitches to this. No, that's not true. I added the black bird over here, and I added the purple petal to the flower down here. I've not stitched on this much. It is the beginning of November still. I have not stitched on this much yet this month, but my computer's trying to go sleep on me. But that is where this is now. I am stitching this on a 32 count Lugana in the color Frost by Bestitch Me, and I am using the called for floss for the full color version, which are all the colors of the Progress Pride flag. And again, I'm using the digital version, but I'm kind of stitching page by page as well. So this is obviously page 1. So you'll see my goal is 1,000 stitches on this in the month of November. So I still have, 950 some odd to go. So you'll see a good amount of progress on this one as we move through November. Oops, hold on. Where's my needle? Ack. And I'm stitching this with, I'm stitching it with 2 strands over 2. I kind of make a face when I say that because the weave, even though it's a 32 count, which typically I always stitch 2 strands on, I think when this one got dyed, the weave on the fabric got really tight. I probably would have been better off doing only 1 strand, but I didn't necessarily realize that until I had already passed the point of no return. So 2 strands it is, and I sometimes just fight with it a little bit. All right, and then my second project was one that I started back in November of 2021. I only have, I think, 3 whips from 2021 still in my whip pile. One of them is about to be abandoned because I'm not interested in it anymore. But the other one is, one of the other ones is this one. And this is, let me see if I have a photo that is not the chart. I do not. Phooey. Oh well. It is by Casey Cross Stitch on Etsy, and it is a quote from Schitt's Creek. I'm positively bedeviled with meetings. My job has me in meetings. Oh no, I do have a photo of it. Never mind. I'm a big liar. There you go. Here's a photo of it. I'm positively bedeviled with meetings. And this is my work. I spend a lot of my time in meetings. So the intention is for this to be hanging in my office once I finish it. But I got to the part where it was just lots and lots of color changes and I got annoyed with it. So I hadn't touched it in a while. So I put it on my whip go. My goal on this is to stitch on it for 6 days. But this is also on my whip down style list because as you will see in a moment, oh, that's right. This one has 2 needles on it for some reason. I'm going to fix that. For some reason, I'm sorry. Let me restart. It's on my whip down style list because there really isn't that much left. It's just a lot of color changes for the flowers. But here's where I am right now. So I'm more than 50% done. I mean, just barely. I'm at like 51.2%. But this is where I am. So I've only stitched on this for 1 day in November. I'm kind of trying to do the rest of the wreath of this darker green that goes, the whole way around. I think it will then be easier to fill in the rest. When I started, I was trying to kind of complete as I went, and it just got on my nerves because I was having to change colors so much. So I'm thinking if I do the dark green all the way around, because it's the primary base of the wreath, then it will be a lot easier. I won't have to stop and start or do a ton of counting, right, to get over to where, this blue is next or this purple is next. So that's what I'm doing right now. So again, I've only stitched one of my 6 days on this, so you'll see more progress in my next video. That is all of the stitching that I have done in the last 2 weeks since my last video. And So that's it for whips. So let's move on to acquisitions. I don't have much. I'm really focusing on stitching from my stash, and really focusing on not really buying new charts, right? Not getting caught up in the, oh my gosh, that's amazing, I need to buy this right now. I added a tag to my whip list in Notion called to purchase. So even though they're not whips, right? But so that if I'm seeing something I really want, I'll put it in Notion, I'll tag it as to purchase, and then I have a filtered view that I can go to and look at and see, okay, what's my wish list, which is nice. I used to keep a written wish list in my bullet journal, and I probably still will for times that like maybe I don't have my phone handy or have Notion handy. But I do go through it every 6 to 8 months and kind of look at the charts again and see if I get that same like, ooh, feeling of like, I need to stitch this, as opposed to like, that's a really cool chart. I don't need to stitch it, but it's a really cool chart and I appreciate its beauty, right? Or its charm or its humor or whatever it might be. But there are 2 charts that I did purchase recently, because, and they're both stitch alongs, because I need more stitch alongs in my life. Please note the sarcasm. But so I have purchased 2 charts in the last 2 weeks. The first is by Climbing Goat Designs. I'm going to make another mug of coffee when we're done with this. Climbing Goat Designs. It is their 2024 stitch along called Dragons, a Field Guide. And so this is the border and the first dragon. And it's so cool. It is, so each month there's going to be a new dragon released, and it is, you'll get the dragon, you'll get a little story about the dragon, and of course, obviously the pattern. So I was born in the year of the dragon. If you are a regular viewer, you've heard this story before. I love dragons. I've always loved dragons. And so I decided I needed this in my life. I haven't done anything with it except purchase it. So this is sort of the getting started packet, the introduction. Lets you know what the final stitch count is going to be, what all the flosses are, and gives you the schedule for the release of each of the months. But because 2024, if you aren't aware, is the year of the dragon in the Chinese zodiac. So excited about that. So that was one acquisition. The second, I swore I wasn't going to do. I had zero intention of doing. I was going to just sit back and enjoy watching everyone else work on it, even though I loved it, but I was like, I don't need it. It's too many stitches. It's too big. I have too many other things going on. And then Michelle Bendy let me know the hashtag that she's using to stitch it. And it might sound stupid that a hashtag would convince me to buy it, but it was just too funny and it was too in line with my sentiment. What I am talking about is the Modern Folk Embroidery 2024 stitch along. No time like the present. I mean, seriously, look at the squirrels. It's too good. It's so good. I wasn't going to buy it. Seriously, look at all these stitches. It's like 36,000 stitches. And I have the Pride stitch along. I have Here Be Dragons. I have like so many other Jacob. Michelle Bendy basically had the same sentiment, especially because so many of them literally just started the Namari tapestry, which is also by Jacob. And he knew they had just started it because he started it with them. And in the same week, he released this. And so Michelle was like, what the hell, Jacob? And that is the hashtag, WTH Jacob Zhao. So I was like, no, I have to be part of that hashtag. So I purchased this. I'm going to love stitching it. I mean, look at the birds and the freaking squirrels. So good. All right, can you tell I love squirrels too? I've got a thing about squirrels. Anyway, Help Board 2017 to 2019. I don't think any of you watch me, but if you do, you know what I'm talking about. Squirrel. So yeah, I purchased the pattern. I love this colorway. I might just do this colorway and not have to think about what I want to do. Um, but I did pick up, I also love the idea of doing part of it in a variegated floss and then the other half of it in a solid that is in the variegated floss. I haven't decided yet. So, lovely viewers, especially those of you with much more color sense than I have. A, do you think that's a cool idea? Right, looking at the pattern. B, do you like any of these? So it is a lot of floss that's required. So I'm probably not going to do anything too fancy like silks or anything like that because I don't want to spend $70 on floss. So I'm looking at the DMC variegateds, right, which are a little more reasonable. So there's this one, which is 4518. Let's see if the colors can come out there. I forget what this one is called, but it has almost a little bit of everything in there, right? It's got light browns. It's very sort of, you've got red, green, brown. So that's one. The other option is this one, which is 4130. Much more orangey, right? Different shades of orange. I don't know. Let me pull back a little bit. I don't know if that's really picking up. And then the last one is 4522, which are very autumnal, in my opinion, colors, right? They're greens and browns and purples, but they're very, stop it. They're very, I don't know, just reads autumn to me, like winter autumn. So I don't know. What are your thoughts? Do you like any of those? Do you think I should just go with the solids? If you do like any of those, which one do you like? So again, they were 4518, 4130, or 4522. Let me know. Obviously there's time. It's only November, so there's time for me to figure out what I'm doing. Would love your opinions. I don't necessarily have a ton of confidence in myself in color conversions. I do tend to stitch with the called for floss, or I will sub out a floss of like a similar color, right? I'm not, like, I sit in awe of people like Cam the Stitcher, and who like can look at a chart and be like, I want to do X, and just totally change it fully, and it looks amazing. I don't have that talent. I wish I did. Anyway, so those are my acquisitions. Would love your opinion on the modern folk embroidery. Last couple of things for today's video. This one's running a little longer than usual, but it is the month of November. It is Thanksgiving month here in the United States. This is episode 52 for me. I have been doing FlossTube now for almost 2 years, and I didn't have my act together enough to do anything big for episode 50. But I thought to myself, you know what? It's Thanksgiving month in the US, and I'm really grateful for the community of people who watch my videos, who comment regularly, for the stitching community generally. I've been stitching since I was a little kid, and it's always been a very solitary thing for me because I never knew anyone else who stitched, or anyone else my age at least, who stitched. And now it's such a vibrant, diverse, wonderful community out there, and FlossTube has helped bring connections in so many ways, and I'm really grateful for that. So I thought, let's make my 2 videos in November, maybe 3 if I get my plans video out in November, but at least my 2 regular episodes in November. We're gonna have some grateful giveaways. I am grateful for those of you who choose to spend some of your valuable time watching the content that I put out there. I know I am not the most prolific stitcher in the world. I know I am not the most exciting person in the world, but I'm really grateful that many of you choose to click play time and time again, and many of you choose to subscribe and choose to pop in and out as your schedules or interests allow. And I'm grateful for that. So I want to do some giveaways, and I'm just going to call them grateful giveaways. So I have 3 for this episode, and I will draw the winners right before I film my next episode. So today is Sunday, November 5th. So you'll basically have until Saturday, what is that going to be? The 18th, I guess, to comment and enter. Standard rules apply. If you're a regular FlossTube viewer and watch other people who do giveaways, you know what they are, right? Please be over 18. Please don't use the word giveaway, raffle, whatever in your comment anywhere. We want to keep the bots away. And I will ship anywhere in the world. And I guess that's it. Please be a subscriber. I mean, obviously I don't have the time to go and check and make sure that whoever wins actually is a subscriber, but that's the spirit, right? I'm grateful for the people who subscribe, who watch. So I would encourage you, if you are not a subscriber and you want to enter the giveaway, I would encourage you to subscribe. I'm not going to require it, obviously, but anyway, all that said, so let's get into it. So I have 3 giveaways for this episode. The first is from Lori Holt, Bee in My Bonnet. This is Chicken Club number 1, Cornelius. And no code words, just leave a comment, and this is number 1. So just put the actual number, don't spell out 1. Put in the number 1 if you are interested in Cornelius. Number 2 is a Mill Hill kit, a Jim Shore gnome with wreath. So this is number 2. And number 3 is the February 2021. Admittedly, so those 2 charts are new, brand new. This is admittedly from my stash, although it is like new because I make copies. Although I don't think I stitched anything out of this one. No, I didn't stitch anything out of this one. But this is the February 2021 World of Cross Stitching magazine. I was looking to see if there was a page that showed like what all the charts are that are in this. Not really, but I will zone in on the cover. Well, I guess this sort of does. Well, I can show the cover so you can get a sense of what some of the charts are that are in here. So this is February 2021, the World of Cross Stitching. And that is number 3. All right. That's everything for me today. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm just looking at my list really quickly to make sure it is actually everything. Yeah, because plans was next on the list, but I kind of already talked about them. I'm going to record a separate video at some point, end of this month, beginning of December, to talk about my overly ambitious plans for 2024. Otherwise, for the rest of November, I'll be continuing to work on my November WIPGO calls and the Lola Crow ornaments and continuing to get ready for 2024. All right, that's it for me. If you are new here and are not already a subscriber, you liked what you saw, I encourage you to like the video, subscribe, ring the bell, do all the things that we do on FlossTube and YouTube. I do have a Buy Me a Coffee link, so I do not monetize my channel. And if you would like to support me other than with a like or subscribe, you can click that link and buy me a coffee. I do use that money to help with shipping, giveaways, and things of that sort. And I don't actually buy myself coffees with that money, but that's okay. All right. That's everything from me. I hope that you are well and that you have a wonderful day. As always, hug your loved ones, take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next one. Happy stitching. Have a great day.